When something is so mouth-wateringly juicy, so satisfyingly crispy, so perfectly hand-breaded that you just want it all to yourself, you don't have to share, but it'd be a lot cooler if you did. The new Zax Pack for 2. With 8 chicken fingers, double the fries, 2 drinks, and that world-famous Zax sauce. Twice the flavor for just $14.99. Only at Zaxbys. Try it with fried pickles for a limited time. Order ahead, drive-thru, or get it delivered.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxbys.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxbys. Indescribably good with, if I can count here properly in front of me, Corey, 9 locations that are really near and dear to our heart. Including 6 in Tallahassee, 1 in Marianna, 1 in Douglas, Georgia, and then 1 in Thomasville, Georgia. I feel like I need to make like a pilgrimage to all of these. I think I've been to 5 out of 6 in Tallahassee. I've been to the 1 in Thomasville. I have not been to the 1 in Marianna or Douglas. Maybe I should take a lady on a date to one of those. That wouldn't be creepy, would it? Hey, girl who lives in Tallahassee, want to go to Marianna with me to go to a Zaxby's?
No, I think if you sell it like we're going to hit all 9. It's going to be a fun weekend, and we're going to hit all 9 of these Zaxby's locations.
And you can be part of this history-setting, memorable journey with me every step of the way.
I don't know how anyone would say no to that, honestly.
Okay, all right.
You're eating Zaxby's every time? So that's 9 Zaxby's meals over the course of a weekend? Come on, man. Come on. Nobody's saying no to that.
We need to give it a nickname like the Golden Slugger or something, like the Golden Bird, the Golden Chicken. You know, in Mississippi, there's a rivalry in Scott County. It's called the Battle for the Golden Chicken. It's a gold chicken on a trophy. It's between Forest and Morton High School. So the more you know, kids. That's what we're here for.
Wow, those kids must be really excited when they get to hoist that golden chicken.
It is. It's a big deal, man. It's Leon versus Lincoln. It's a big deal, man. It's representing your community. Right. So don't denigrate it. Anyhow, if you're listening to us on YouTube, if you could hit the like button, that'd be really cool. That's the way everybody keeps score nowadays. I didn't make the rules. Corey didn't make it either. But subscribe as well on the YouTube channel. You can set your notifications to your desire, however frequently or infrequently you want to be notified of us dropping new videos, whether it's this podcast or Michael Langston's recruiting chats or our happy hours dropping. Subscribe, hit the like button. It makes a difference, believe it or not, and it doesn't do much skin off your back to do those sort of tasks. So let's get to the show. Also part of the Warchant.com family. Corey, it's been a weird time. Don't really know what we're going to talk about today. I'm probably going to throw out some really vague, esoteric questions at you and then kind of lean on you to carry the day. Hopefully you didn't just keel over and fall off your stool and perish. That would be terrible.
No, I'm good.
All right. There's a fairly depressing thread. I want to come out the gates hot on a Monday, especially on a holiday. But it's a little bit somber, solemn thread entitled, Honest Question. Is this the most disinterested summer as an FSU fan you've had? Probably should be you've been, I would think. I don't know. I'm not the grammar guy on the show. But a lot of guys talking about, and ladies, just, it's been kind of a rough go. Obviously, so much of I think is the unknown, but is any of this maybe some of the juice that's being taken out of the season? How much of it, any of it, is it? I mean, we went through it last year knowing that you weren't going to win a national championship. Like, is this what it feels like to be Iowa now? Because it feels like even if you get to 6 weeks to get ready with a first-year staff, it's going to be really difficult to get this thing off the ground in a smooth manner. Or do you think it's just the unknown that's bothering people the most, and that's why they're disinterested?
I would say it's mainly almost all of the latter. It's hard to, like I've written a story that by the time people can listen to this should be up on the site, or close to being up on the site. It'll be up on Monday morning, about just ACL injuries and coming back from ACL injuries, and how much better the rehab and recovery is than it was a generation ago. and I wrote the story. I
feel like you're
writing the
attacking
story.
me. I feel like you're attacking me. Did Ira send you on this errand?
Yeah. No, it was kind of an Ira assignment, but yeah, it's just and you're targeted. You're the demographic that we're targeting, but just how much improvements, advancements they've made, not only in the surgery but mainly in the rehab. Like, I didn't realize this, but when a kid has a knee surgery, he starts his rehab within the week. Like, I just figured he's laid up for 6 weeks, and then they slowly start it. But no, they're very aggressive with it. Yeah. But my point is, I wrote the story. It's obviously mainly about the 3 kids that are coming off knee injuries for Florida State. And I think it's an interesting story. I hope people read it. But in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, okay, well, what's the recovery time if you get 2 years? How will they look if they don't play at all in 2020? Like, I think that colors every story that we read, every story that we write. It's like a shadow where you don't know if it's anything's going to be like, writing these previews, opponent previews. Okay, theoretically, this is who they're playing.
Yeah.
So I just think that's what it is. It's like it's hard to get too excited about things that are happening in June and July when you don't know if there's going to be a September.
Well, then, to this point, do the administrators at these universities, do these commissioners, do they owe the fans an explanation? Because I know we kind of got into it a little bit on Friday or Thursday when we recorded for Friday's podcast, but it just, I don't know what the plan is from anybody. And I guess, if you're like a public figure and someone's spreading rumors about you, you can't sort of dignify every rumor and respond to it and shoot it down. So why should these administrators come out and say, yeah, that schedule that's been in place for the last 6 months, we're still sticking to it? Why should we come out and say it when this is the way it's been working since the dawn of time, right? We release a schedule, that's a schedule. That's when the teams play, that's when it's going to happen. No other comment needs to be said. I just feel like this is, like, I think of it through the prism of like having a family vacation. And every single year in July, the family goes to the Cape. Up in, Massachusetts or whatever. Every single year, we all go. We fly first class. It's living high on the hog. It's good times. But it's like dad works in the, I don't know, he's like a tire salesman. And that year, there's a big shortage of rubber and materials that make tires or wheels. Yeah, tires, not wheels, tires. So,
I like this analogy. I like this analogy. Keep it going.
I know you don't, but like, doesn't dad tell the family at some point around dinner, like, hey, I know I lost my job, but we're still going on vacation? Or is it like, you all know I lost my job, we can't do it this year? I just feel at some point here in the next, like literally the next 2 weeks, they have to say something. I don't know what they're waiting on. Everyone's waiting on something to happen. That's not going to happen until somebody steps up and says, all right, this is what we're doing. We're going to start 2 weeks late. We're going to go to conference only. If you have 15 or more guys that test positive, you can't play that week. Like the whole team is going to have to forfeit or something like that. And that sounds ridiculous to some people, but someone needs to step up and outline a plan, because this whole, we're going to approach this like it's 2018 or 2008 or 1998 just doesn't seem like the right play right now.
Yeah, I think just going on your analogy, who's the dad?
John Swafford?
Like in this scenario, who's
Greg
the
Sankey? Dad? What's the guy in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but it's there isn't one dad. And a school at, Florida State right now is in a much different scenario than Miami. Just when you look at the cases and the risk. Or in Syracuse, and you just go all along. There's not everybody's the same, so that's the problem. Is there's no dad to say this is what we're looking for, this is what we need, these are the numbers you have to be down by. None of that. So it's just, it's basically just, you hope the next 10 days the numbers plummet. That's all you can hope for. That's all we can hope for. And if they do, there's a very realistic chance that they're playing football. If they don't. Man, I saw a story today about, I think 121 people. I think it was Washington, University of Washington. Did you see that? Where like 121 students tested positive on the University of Washington campus. 112 were in fraternities. So it's like, what do you do about frats and sororities? Yeah, it's just it's very, very complicated, and we're just all hoping that there's a college football season.
But to that point, I mean, do you? I was kind of thinking about this the other night when I went to pick up some food, and
Okay.
it was at a place that had curbside pickup as an option, and it was a place that never had done that before. Now, these restaurants had about 6 weeks to figure all this stuff out, right? Like late March, April, or whatever. In Florida, the lockdown, stay-at-home sort of stuff goes into place, and these restaurants are trying to figure out ways to stay above water, whether that's doing to-go orders or curbside. I mean, they had 6 weeks to figure this out. And I've done this twice at 2 different restaurants, and both times they have no idea what they're doing. And I'm not trying to pick on people in the hospitality industry, but they had 6 weeks just to figure out how to do to-go orders, curbside pickup. They've got it to where you park in spots that the back of your car that's got your license plate and everything you're not visible to the people in the actual restaurant. So they're walking out of the restaurant blindly looking around to try to see which car they should drop the food off at. It's like, hey, why don't you put all, and they're numbered too, but there's no way, and when you make your order online, that it says, okay, pick your order up at slot number 4 in 30 minutes. It says, like, call us when you get there. You call them, and they're like, what's your car again? What's the make and model? It's like, hey, man, did I just put that in the order online? That's my whole thing. They had like 6 weeks to get this whole thing up and running. Restaurants that are fighting for their survival, and they're just winging it with no real plan in place, and they're executing it very sloppily. Like, I know we've got multimillionaires that are running, they're not franchisees of a Sonny's Barbecue or something like that. We've got multimillionaire commissioners and presidents and, the NCAA oversight and all that kind of stuff. I have the fact that there's no news coming from, there's no outline plan. I guess maybe I'm talking in circles because you're saying there isn't that sort of universal figure. Like, one school, I think, is everyone just waiting for that one school? Is it Alabama or Clemson or LSU that needs to say, we're going to play our schedule, we want to go to conference only, and, if we're going to test our players before the game on Friday and Saturday morning, we're going to get results, and if we're good, we're playing the game. And if you test negative, or rather, if you test positive, whether or not you're symptomatic or not, like, you cannot play the game. That, I feel like that hasn't even been communicated. Or is that just something that's unwritten at this point, Corey? Like, if you test positive that week, you can't play the game. I mean,
yeah, I would think that's understood. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you could test positive and then be like, hey, but yeah, he's still our quarterback, or he's still our right guard. I think he would sit out. I don't know if that'll be. I would assume that'd be mandated by conferences. That if you test positive, you have to sit out for a week. They'll follow the guidelines.
What if you're positive and asymptomatic, though?
Yeah, you can still spread it. So they'll follow the guidelines of whatever the NBA is doing, I'm sure, or the MLB. Again, I'm waiting. I'm just holding my breath, waiting for one of those 2 leagues to start, and then I'll feel better about things. But it's going to be a challenge, man. There's going to be issues. It's none. That's the thing is, like, I was thinking about that today. Like, I'm so frustrated with how Brady was watching some Premier League soccer match that, had nobody in the stands, but they had the piped-in crowd noise.
Ridiculous.
And that seems to be going on. Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. And the crowd noise didn't even go with what was happening in the game.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, if they had, like, a DJ or something or a PA guy that's like, whatever noise the crowd normally makes when the goalie makes a good save, hit that button. Don't just have normal crowd noise as if that guy just didn't make an incredible save to stop a goal. So I was watching that, and I'm like, man, they seem to be doing okay over there. Like, that league is still going. That league still seems to be operating at its normal capacity, or as normal as you could possibly hope to be. So maybe we can get there. But right now, every day, there's 12, 15, 18 more athletes that are like, or they get it, or they say, I'm not sure I'm going to play, or they opt out. And, it's just this month is going to be the month, obviously. I mean, that's not me breaking anything down, but you got to see the NBA restarts this month, MLB restarts this month. If both of those leagues are playing on August 4th and still playing, I'll feel much better about college football being played. But, again, like I've said, it's such a different, like, the difference between the NFL or the NBA and Major League Baseball is the players in the NBA don't also have to intermingle with hundreds of other people they don't know on a daily basis. They're not on a campus or in a classroom with people they don't know. And that's another issue you have to have moving forward.
I'm not worried about Marvin Wilson catching COVID from somebody in his philosophy class. I mean,
well, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Everybody that catches it indoors. Almost all of them. So that to me is like that's where I wonder about.
Well, in really tight, confined spaces like bars, nursing homes, slaughterhouses.
For the most part, and
prisons.
I shouldn't speak in absolutes.
I feel like universities are gonna anything that's gonna be done in class, in person, face to face teaching, face to face learning is going to be spaced out. I'm not worried about that. I mean, to your point about the Premier League, it's just you're talking about a roster of, I don't know, like 26 guys maybe, and they've got, 2 or 3 trainers. I mean, it's minuscule compared to the amount of people that are on the football roster. And the practice, I mean, the fitness level and the training for a soccer player is completely different from the practice that a football player is doing. I mean, even when they're not doing, they want a thud or, we're going to practice like pros and we're going to take it easy. Man, you're still in each other's grill for 2.5 hours.
Let me ask you a question.
Not really.
What if I talked about on headlines about building a prototype helmet for this, but what if they just wore masks and played football that way? I get it. I understand it would be incredibly hot. But if that's the only way they're going to be allowed to play football is to wear masks so they're not breathing on each other, I don't know. That seems like something that could just – like nobody even talks about that. Like that's not even a thing.
Man, I get gassed at Publix with my mask on, man. I can't imagine.
Trust me, it's not ideal. Yeah. But if I think you could have 2 weeks to get acclimated to it. And the only reason I brought that up is because I don't know if you saw that picture of Mike Trout on Sunday running the bases at an Angels practice wearing a mask. Like he was going through the full workout in a mask, which I wanted to be like, Mike, I love it, man. It's a great image. It's something that needs to be shown all over the country. But you're on a baseball field by no one. Like literally, you're rounding third with nobody else in the picture.
Man, he's got a wife that's pregnant, I think, though. So I'm not gonna cast.
Oh no, I'm just saying I get wearing a mask everywhere else. It's just the outdoors, not near anyone. I feel like you don't need it, but still do it. I love the image of it, just what it says. But yeah, I don't know why that's not at least on the table, because in a real football game, what's the number of plays in a row that you would wear the mask?
That's a good point.
8, 12? You're going to come off the field probably. If you're a defensive player, you're going to get subbed in a little bit. And then you go to the sideline without a mask, although maybe you need to wear it on the sideline too. And then anyway. So
I know in high school football, before we do the time changeover in October, they have water breaks. At least in Mississippi and Alabama, they have like mandatory water breaks.
So you get mass breaks.
Yeah, like, hey, all right, stop it. 6-minute mark of each quarter, or the 7-minute mark in college, or 8-minute mark, whatever. Play stops. Everybody spread out. Take your mask off. Take a breath.
I almost said, because I'm really smart, and they could also make it out of like material where you can, You get some holes in there, and you get some air going into that mask. I'm like, oh no, that's not what you want. That's not exact. That would be the exact opposite of the point of the mask.
Well, we're probably we probably should have sat on this idea to talk about football in this sort of way until Tuesday if we're going to do like a live show, because I mean, I'm not getting political here, but in reading things, it sounds like that the White House, probably I'm guessing on Monday, is going to start pivoting to the message of, no longer like, oh, it's just going to go away, or, the sun's going to kill it, or whatever. It sounds like they're going to pivot to more of, all right, it's here, we have to deal with it. So maybe that's like that's the first step in making universities and colleges and maybe some of the other sports leagues. I mean, the NFL too is coming, has released some of their ideas and thoughts for their protocol, but they are not nearly as thorough, I think, or as transparent as what the NBA has been. But it's like an uncomfortable sort of topic or whatever, because everything gets politicized. But if the message starts becoming, it's here, we need to learn how to deal with it, maybe that does get us closer to actually playing football, because I think so much of it is, Do we want to deal with it? Do we want to?
It's not. And don't we all understand now at this point? It's not going to be gone in 2 months. It's here for a while. Our lives are. We're in the middle of COVID for who knows how many more months. Like it's just a part of the life. And it's funny. So I saw an exchange on Twitter, and I keep bringing up Twitter, but somebody was asking about like why are even baseball players playing? Like somebody's point was they obviously don't take COVID seriously because they're playing. They're trying to play. And it's like, well, okay, then I guess the person that works at the pharmacy doesn't take this seriously because they're going to their job. Or the person that works in has to go to an office building, or the mechanic, or whoever, like it's their job. Like there's no proof that you're any safer not doing your job. Now football might be different, maybe, probably, if you're working out in confined spaces. But overall, like we all have to learn how to do our jobs with it. You know what I mean? Like with this in the air, it's just it's part of our country. So we've tried to pivot. I mean, it hasn't been a fun 4 months for any of us, especially you and I having to come up with stuff to talk about.
20 minutes into the
Florida
show,
State related.
Hopefully, people are still listening.
But that we have to figure it out. And I don't think the answer is we just shut everything down. That's not the answer. So we have to figure out a way to live with it the best way we can, to mitigate the risk as best as we can, knowing that the illness is still going to be around and people are still going to get infected. We have to make sure the most susceptible among our society stay away from the people that are at risk to get it, like the ones that deal, like we talked about, like a kid that's on a football team. Don't visit your grandmom in the nursing home, man. Go to the window and wave. I'm not trying to be snarky there. Like literally, just don't do it.
I know.
But I mean, I think that's our lives, and it sucks. Like, I have a son that we've gone over to my mom's house, to his grandmom's house, and he used to spend the night there a lot. So daddy could go out and do daddy things, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But that doesn't happen anymore, and it's been a bummer for my mom and for him, and mainly my mom, if we're being honest. But still, Brady likes going over there. But we had to change our lives a little bit because I didn't want him, who was around a lot more people, to do something to her. And I just think if we can do that, then we can figure out a way to live with this thing, and the numbers will start going down. And now I'll hop off the soapbox and get back to talking about daddy things. What do you want to know? What do you think Corey Clark does on a Friday night when he's on the town? Well, you've been with me.
Did you get loose on the 4th?
Not really. No, just went to a buddy's pool. Man, I just don't get pools. I'll be honest with you. Like I don't get the appeal of them. Like, and it's because I have I don't know, alabaster skin and I burn if I'm in the sun for 5 minutes, and I'm not a strong swimmer. But like just laying out by the pool, sweating until you're leaking on the grass, just it doesn't do it for me, man. I don't get it. Like we had a few pops and the kids played, but that's all we did. I went to a buddy's pool cookout thing. It wasn't a party, it was just family, but still.
All right, then. I don't know. You go like trivia on Friday nights with your buddies, like your Georgia buddies? Is that what goes down when Brady's at grandma's?
Come on, man. Come on. That's a Wednesday night thing. Friday night's a whole different deal.
Buckhead? Buckhead getting loose?
Yeah, I go to Buckhead. That's right.
Is that so cool?
Right.
Like, I mean, I went to Buckhead in 2015 when I was there for the Georgia Tech game. They had some strip that resembled kind of like Tennessee Street in Tallahassee, where it was a bunch of dive bars almost. I liked it. It was nice.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't been to Buckhead, like down there to go do like Buckhead things since like the late 90s probably.
Wow.
Since right around the Olympics.
Such a snob.
Well, no, not that. I kind of, we got older and it didn't seem like our type of crowd. Yeah. So no Buckhead.
Yeah, they had like on the marquee out front of one of the bars, it was like "Welcome Florida State fans," and me and my two buddies, like we went out and ripped it up. It was a good time. I liked it. I liked Atlanta.
But can't you wait to get? I can't wait to just go out and do things again.
Can't wait to watch the West Virginia game. All right. We faked it for about 23 minutes. I just want something, man. I just need someone to step up and just say a plan, because I just don't get the whole holding pattern thing.
Yeah, it just wouldn't matter though, right? That was my point the other day. I get what you're saying, that you want like some I don't know, some concrete plans laid in place of what it's going to look like. Everything's okay or everything's not okay. This is what we're planning to do. It's all speculation. It's all speculative. Florida State hasn't said much of anything by way of athletics. I mean, and you just don't know. And it would be cool maybe if they came out and said, "This is what we're going to do. This is the plan." But again, that could blow up in 2 weeks.
There just needs to be conversations. I mean, there needs to be some sort of consensus of like, okay. Because there might be some schools that think, okay, if my
don't
player,
you think they're doing that though? Do you not think that they're doing that, like Swafford and
we're not hearing about it, and not even so much you and I am saying like we don't anything that's said is reported on these days. There's no secrets anymore, man. To a large degree, everybody's been. Anytime there's even the most like minutia news report about whether it's a conference doing something or a school is stopping their rowing program, it's being reported on. Like I would like to think that if like the Power 5 commissioners were having conference calls, there would be reports about the Power 5 commissioners having a conference call to talk about what they're going to do when a player tests positive. Like if you're at Oklahoma State and you test positive, you need to be treated the same way as a kid that tests positive at Purdue. Or we're not going to do that. I mean, I don't think you can look at it, like you said earlier, like Miami's going through things differently, Dade County, than Leon County is. Okay, but still, you're all playing under unified rules in a unified conference, in a unified system that sets up 4 people to play for a national championship. There can't be differing sort of eligibility rules. I mean, I just think like they need to come again. I think if the White House does come out and say here in the next 24 hours, it's here, we need to deal with it, then maybe actually this starts that puts some sort of artificial barrier up to where they can't just go in a holding pattern. They have to kind of face their fears and talk about what they're going to do. Because I don't know, man. I really don't think if you spoke to I don't know, freaking Lane Kiffin, or if you spoke to whoever, Larry Scott, the commissioner of the Pac-12, I bet you they have no idea what would happen if they had a player test positive 3 days before kickoff, what that would mean for that player's eligibility for that game. I really wouldn't think they would know. We could ask Mike. I think we could call Mike Norvell right now. Like, Mike, what would happen if Marvin tested positive Thursday before you guys got on the bus to go to Atlanta to play West Virginia? I don't think they would know, man. I really don't. Maybe I'm totally.
I mean, I think but I think that speaks for itself. If somebody tests positive 2 days before, obviously he's not going, and then the plan, you hope, is to have enough tests that you test everybody right then and see who else. You do the contact tracing quickly, and you test them all either that day or the next day. I just think that's what you're going to have to do. But you got to be fluid, man. You can't be rigid with these rules because we've never faced anything like this. You can't have hard, fast rules about something that you don't know what it's going to look like, and you don't. So you can have ideas, you can have guidelines, but then I don't want them. I want them to be malleable, because this thing is malleable. It keeps shape shifting. Yeah. So I want them to be malleable and work with it. And maybe you shut down college football for 10 days. You know what I mean? Maybe that happens, but that doesn't mean you just shut down the season. Like if there's another outbreak, like if a couple of teams have let's fast forward to this next March. Don't you think, and I think we both expect COVID to still be around in March. Don't you think they're going to have a March Madness?
Yes, I think there will be a March Madness, Corey. Carry on.
Great. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love technology. It's the best. Yeah, but that was my point. Like, obviously, we understood why it was canceled last year. They had no idea how to attack this thing, how to prepare, how to stay safe. We think a year later they're going to have a better idea. And so I hope that's the same way with football. Now they've had 5 months. They have to have some sort of plan, and they'll be able to adapt. If a team, like they would even postpone it a week if they had to. If there was another outbreak, say like March 8th, they would say, all right, well, we'll postpone it for a week, or 10 days, but we're going to play this thing. And they'll have guidelines in place, and not everybody will just be taken completely by surprise. That's what I'm hoping for, because we got to live with it, man. We have to work with it. You have to go to work. The people listening to this, most of them are going to work. Their kids have to go to school. Like, we have to figure out a way as a society to live with this. And I know I'm talking about something frivolous, but that includes football. That includes basketball, golf. It includes sports. I could have been more succinct and just said sports instead of starting to list them all. But yeah, that's part of our society is sports. And we've got to figure out a way to play sports, just like we've got to figure out a way to eat and get our kids to school.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so for the people that are not dispassionate about this coming season, the hope, the optimism, right? A lot of it comes back to me now talking about the whole fact that, these restaurants had 6 weeks to figure out how to make curbside pickup an effective part of their business model, and they failed. So I'm supposed to think, God bless his heart, that Mike Norvell is going to have 6 weeks to get this thing up and running to where we're going to win 9-10 games. And this isn't a knock on him. And everyone's dealing with the same stuff to a certain degree. I mean, Neil Brown of West Virginia isn't exactly, lying in wake to pounce on Florida State because he's a second-year coach, and they are replacing, I think, most of their secondary. Not sure what they're looking on offensive line, but they're going through some turmoil themselves, their defensive coordinator. Is the easiest thing here just to have a better quarterback? Is that going to be the single thing that will determine whether or not this thing actually is better this year? Because it's almost hard to say that you can install a better offense that's more effective, that's executed at a more efficient level with the amount of time they're going to have to prepare, with probably some stuff that's also going to be thrown in there that's going to make practice not like it's been in any sort of preseason that these guys have ever undergone. Does it really ultimately just come down to Florida State having a better quarterback? And can it be James Blackman if that's going to be it? Like, can he be improved enough in 6 weeks? Does it have to be Jordan Travis or one of these freshmen to really give them the shot in the arm to flip it in 1 year?
No, because what would their record have been? I'm disagreeing there.
9 wins.
No. What would their record have been if they had a top 40 defense last year?
Oh, boy. That's a good. We've never done that before. Good job, Corey.
I'm saying
I like that.
you beat Boise for sure.
Yeah.
That's one extra win. You probably don't have to go to overtime against Louisiana Monroe. I think you beat Virginia. I think there's probably another win that I can't think of right now that they would have won if they could have gotten more stops. I mean, their defense was so bad last year.
Wake Forest probably.
Wake Forest, yeah. Wake didn't score a ton of points, but they scored when it mattered, and that was a second string quarterback. I think that if the defense is good, that's what it. I think the quarterback obviously is the most important position on the team, but I think they can get by if the defense makes a giant leap. Which again, I'm not just saying this all pie in the sky. I'm a Florida State reporter. I think they're going to be awesome. I just think they have the talent to be a good defense. They've never proven they could be a good defense, but I think they have the talent to be a good defense. And if they could be that, or just pretty good, as opposed to god-awful, then I think you're looking at an extra two wins at minimum. And maybe 3, I don't know. So, I mean, even Miami. I know Florida State's offense was awful, but they gave up. That kid threw for over 300 yards, right?
No, did he?
I thought he did. Yeah, I thought he had a great game.
What, that Jeff Thomas kid? He hit him on a big. I remember that big play he hit him on, but otherwise I don't recall. I'll look it up. Continue.
So the quarterback, obviously, again, most important position on the field. But I think the biggest change we have to see, maybe even the bigger than the O-line, because the O-line is just that's a work in progress. I think the O-line is not going to be one of the top, 25 or 30 in the country. But the defense could be, collectively. You've got NFL players at every level, I think, certainly in the front and the back, multiple NFL players at every level. And you need to take advantage of that. And if you can become a top 40 defense, I think if the offense stays the same, because the quarterback play certainly wasn't good last year, and there's still a couple of good defensive games away from winning 8 games last year.
Jaren Williams, who I think has since transferred and left Miami, 21 of 37, 313, and 2 touchdowns.
What did he do? Can you look at his game log? Like, what did he do against, Central Michigan? Didn't he throw 5 picks in a game? And they came back and almost beat that team, and I can't remember who it was.
Gosh, he threw 6 touchdowns against Louisville, though. That's pretty good.
But what else did he do? What was the one where he had a bunch of interceptions?
He had 3 picks against FIU, 3 picks against West Virginia. He had 7 picks on the year, so it was only over the course of 3 games.
No, I think he came in and replaced someone who threw whoever their other quarterback was that they kind of went back and forth with. He came in and replaced him in a game where they tied it up. They had a huge comeback. Who was that? It was an ACC team.
Was it Georgia Tech? Was it the Georgia Tech game?
No, it was a huge comeback against somebody, but they lost by like 2 points because they either missed the extra point or went for 2 and didn't get it. I can't remember. I kind of try to block that whole season out. But yeah, think about that.
N'Kosi Perry, right? N'Kosi Perry.
There you go. Yep. Yeah, he had a terrible game against someone, so they brought Williams off the bench, and he led them back to almost tying the game.
Maybe it was the Virginia Tech game.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep, exactly right. Yep.
Yeah, Perry had 4 touchdowns and a pick against Virginia Tech, and they lost 42-35. Didn't they miss like the extra point or something too?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they missed something crazy. So Williams was terrible. So Williams, they had a freshman who's literally his best game of his career, in that he didn't have many to choose from, was against Florida State. 300-something yards, 21 completions, 2 touchdowns, and then he's benched and leaves the program. That's how bad Florida is. So, anyway, everybody remembers the Miami game because of just how completely inept the offensive game plan and execution was, and the offensive line. But, man, the defense wasn't impressive at all, and that was not a good Miami offense. And I just think get your defense to be respectable. Ranking whatever they ranked last year in the Power 5, one of the 5 worst Power 5 defenses in the country, is embarrassing when you have NFL players on your defense, which they did and still do. So if they can make some improvements, I think that's the bigger development than even having because we don't think the quarterback play is going to be awesome no matter who it is, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it could be decent. Well, I guess the difference between last year's quarterback play and just being decent isn't nearly the disparity if compared to last year's defense being decent, and then having a decent defense, because last year's defense was a train wreck and really hard to watch.
Yeah, maybe I've been looking at it through the wrong prism. Maybe I've been looking at it wrong because the defense, because the Boise game, I don't know if we gave them the whole out about just the offense falling all over themselves in the second half and not being able to get, keep them off the field. Cam's fumble was unfortunate. Maybe not even so much the play of your defense, but if you have guys that know how to fall on the fumble instead of, the departed, Jackson and Taylor, bumping heads and not falling on the fumble. That stuff doesn't happen. The Virginia game, maybe if you get another stop. I know we focus so much on James Blackman, I guess, missing Terry on that route that maybe we don't scrutinize the defense as much. But I don't know, to me, it just always kind of feels like it's been the offense. 'Cause I was thinking about this just because of all the stuff that Willie was trying to peddle. I didn't buy much of it, but I did buy going into 19 last season. The whole coaching chemistry thing is we weren't all together last year, 2018, and it's you had 2 coordinators that didn't know each other, and Walt Bell's got a receivers coach and tight ends coach and a running backs coach that he's not familiar with and all that kind of stuff. It's all right, well, then everything is turnkey here with Kendall Browse. It's his offense. It's his offensive line coach. It's all good. Well, it had its moments. It looked really good in the first half of those, the first 4 games of the Boise game, the Monroe game, maybe not Virginia. And then Louisville, North Carolina State, 4 out of the first 5 games, the offense came out like gangbusters in the first half and kind of faded. So my whole thing has just been I guess it's going to have to be the quarterback because, Alex Atkins and Kenny Dillingham aren't going to have the synergy that Kendall and Randy had. Then they start thinking about the offensive line, and maybe we're so far removed now from Rick Trickett's guys that that's part of it too. When you think about it, so what? Baselli's a holdover, but then Lucas, I guess Scott at your other guard is a holdover. Lucas is a Willie guy. Baselli and Scott are, I guess Jimbo guys. And then one of your other tackles is a Willie guy, and the other is Mike Norvell. So hopefully they're better. But again, like these aren't guys that have played by each other. They're not all recruited by the same coach that might have been looking for the same thing. There's just a lot of, the coaching chemistry thing that I thought was going to be so good doesn't seem to be, none of that's on the table this year. But it didn't work last year, so why should I care? I guess maybe is the counterpoint.
Yeah, but I mean the offense was better.
Yeah,
it was much better than it was in 18. I mean that's not saying much, but it became a what would you say an average to maybe slightly above average college offense last year. I mean they did okay, right? Points per game, passing yard. I mean they were certainly so much better than they were the year before. And if the defense can take a similar step up, again, Briles didn't turn them into the number one offense in the country, but he made them respectable for the most part, except when they played any defensive lines that were any good. But hopefully Fuller and his staff on that side of the ball, who we think is much better than the staff that was there, can have a similar impact on the defense where it's just respectable. Just get us back to respectable, and I think you can get to 8 or 9 wins. I really do. I just think you have the talent to do that.
Trying to look. So they were 102nd in total offense in Taggart's first year.
Yeah.
And they were 60th last season.
There you go, man.
They averaged 408 yards per game of offense?
Yeah, man. They were a machine. Are you kidding me?
Passing offense was top 40. Look at that. Get off James Blackman's case, everybody.
Yeah, and they had Cam Akers running wild, 1,200 yards rushing. I mean, it was a show. It was the greatest show on turf. 2019 Florida State Seminole offense.
Okay, I'm sold, Corey. Defense gets better. Little bit of offense. But like if I had 10 coins, if this was like a science fiction fantasy video game, and I had 10 coins, I was at the shopkeeper, and it was like, can I improve my sword or my shield? I'd put 7 of it on my shield and 3 of it on my sword. Offense, yeah, a little bit better.
Is that like a
Zelda, I guess, reference?
A Legend
Final
of
Fantasy?
Zelda?
Yeah,
Is that Zelda?
Yeah,
okay.
one or the other.
All right.
One or the other. One of those.
Okay,
things.
that's cool.
All right.
Hey, by the way, I know you were wondering about that. Oh, this is what I did with my July 4th after the pool party and the neighborhood fireworks. And again, pool party. It wasn't like those pool parties you see on the news where there's 100 people you just laying on each other.
Sure.
It was crazy. It was debaucherous with all these families. I watched Hamilton on Disney Plus. Didn't have a password. I never obviously needed to be on Disney Plus before, but I got it from Shanna. Got her password, and that's what I did with my July 4th night was watch Alexander Hamilton, one of our founding fathers.
What were your thoughts?
I don't understand quite. It was a phenomenon on Broadway whenever it was out, like 4 or 5 years ago. And you'd hear all these people talk about how they were moved to tears and they cried 4, 5, 6 different times. I don't quite get that at all, honestly. But it's really impressive. Like, it's just the whole time I'm watching it, it's like, you're telling me one dude wrote all this? Like, he decided, I'm going to write a musical about Alexander Hamilton, and every word is sung. So he must have written 30 songs. I don't know how many songs are on this, but that's a crazy amount of just creativity, and I can't even imagine. I want to go read up on it to see how long it took him to write it. Did it take him like a decade?
I don't know, but our guy Ira was gushing about it on Twitter, and then
was he really?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
A friend of mine in Montana tweeted this, like, I didn't like Hamilton. To clarify, if I wanted historical entertainment, I'd watch Drunk History. If I wanted to listen to hip-hop for preschoolers, I'd buy a Will Smith album or get on TikTok. I will give Hamilton points for creativity and originality. It's just not for me, though. Which, yeah, I mean, like, it's a historical musical. So, like, if you want, like, your history, then probably there's something else that's going to appeal to you better. If you want good music, there's probably something else that's going to be more your lane.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think that might just be.
Well, he's rapping. Lin-Manuel Miranda's like a top 5 MC. I want to hear him rap. That's what I think my friend was trying to say. Like, if I want to listen to a guy that can't rap all that well, I'm not going to watch a Broadway. I'll go laugh and watch. I'll listen to a Will Smith CD or Kids on TikTok.
I mean, Jamie Foxx isn't the best singer in the world, but Ray was pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, it adds to the play.
He's singing Ray Charles's music. These are real songs.
But he ain't Ray Charles. Why not just go listen to the Ray Charles album?
Well,
That's the real thing.
There's soul in those songs. That's Ray Charles. He's trying to evoke that.
But it's not bad. It's not like corny. I will say that it's not corny. He does. It's not all rap, by the way. I think most of the stuff he does is rap, but he's only a part of some of the songs. Like he's not singing every song, just rapping it in hip hop, hippity doo, like doing that stuff.
Here's Ira's tweet. Our family has been in love with the music for years. Watching the film with my wife and kids last night was incredible. What a beautiful piece of work. Bravo. He tweeted that.
Ira Schofel tweeted that.
He tweeted that at Lin-Manuel Miranda. He actually retweeted something that Lin-Manuel Miranda had to say. He retweeted and then added that comment. Yeah.
Ira Schofel did.
The managing editor of the #1 Florida State website in the world.
All right. Well, hey, look, Gene, if you're still cool with Ira being a part of this franchise, that's fine. But holy moly, we talk about our brand all the time, right, Aslan? Don't we? The Warchant brand.
Absolutely.
I don't feel like that did us a lot of favors.
It got him 74 likes.
But only because there's not a dislike button. But no, for real, I really did like it. So I'm making fun of him, but I don't think I liked it enough to tweet it out. Tweet at Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It's tough to say, huh? See,
It is really tough to say. That's why he became such a good rapper, just having to say his name. But I like the music. I thought the music was good, and then the story's cool. It's done in such a different way. I thought it was really neat. I liked it. And Stephanie was texting me about this. I don't remember reading much at all in school growing up about Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, it was like a footnote. Yeah.
Yeah, if that. Like, I don't know that I knew that Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton until was it a Snickers commercial?
Yeah, I think so.
You remember that commercial where the guy's like, Aaron Burr, his mouth's full? That's the first time I even knew. I was like, wait, Alexander Hamilton died in a duel?
He did.
That's crazy. So, yeah, so did his kid. His son died in a duel in the exact same spot 3 years earlier.
Pride comes before the fall.
That was a spoiler. I shouldn't have told you that. But anyway, you should watch it. I think you'd like it. I really do. It's long. I didn't realize it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. Also on Ira's Twitter, he retweeted somebody, Chuck Barnes, that had a photo of you guys. I don't know why you don't grow your hair back out, Corey. You looked like Bruce Willis's brother. I think you should grow your hair back out.
Well, I think it'd be grayer now than it was then. But no, like any woman that I've ever shown a picture of, like my head, face, the whole thing now, in the whole thing in like 2011, where I had like for people that don't know, I wasn't completely bald. I tried to grow it out, but it was just like patches, and I had the ring.
He had good hair on the side, and he had a little bit of a patch near the crown of his head.
Yeah, and I'm like, what was I doing? Why did I do that? Why did Shanna let me do that? I just don't understand it.
Bruce Willis, man. You're like Bruce Willis's brother in Georgia.
When does Bruce Willis just have a patch of hair on his head? He's always bald, isn't he?
Well, he's got a little bit of that fuzz, like in Die Hard.
Right.
Running through the vents of the Nakatomi building, man.
That's right.
You could have been a stunt double.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Have the less athletic, less tough guy be the stunt double for him.
You're too modest.
I know. I'd kick Bruce Willis's ass.
I've watched Yellowstone. I binged through two. I think they're on season number 3, maybe on episode number 3, but I binged through the first 2 seasons of it. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's a little too cowboy waspy for me. I feel like every 5 minutes there's a scene set to some sort of country song, which I get it. It's about cowboys, but it's a little much. I mean, The Sopranos didn't have, whatever you would consider like mob music. They weren't playing like Sinatra and the Rat Pack every.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
But every 4 minutes, man, it's like some guy strumming on an acoustic guitar talking about ranching and whiskey.
Yeah,
it's like, is there anything else? And I don't know why Kevin Costner tries to put on some accent. Which, like, hey, man, it's Montana. There is not an accent in Montana. And you're a cowboy. It's fine. Like, you look like a cowboy, Kevin. You don't need to give us this, like, pained, he's Casey. I'm going to give you the
He's
ranch.
done that a bunch in his career, man.
That's
Remember,
terrible.
he was Robin Hood, and he had a British accent for like
horrible.
the first 8 minutes of the movie, and then he's like, you know what, I'm Kevin Costner. I'm not doing this anymore. JFK, he had the Cajun accent, or tried to. What was the other one I was just thinking of? He did the 13 Days where he was one of the confidants to the Kennedys. So he was from Boston. And man, he didn't crush that one either. It's like, Kevin, just be yourself, buddy. We get it. We know you're not from Boston or Montana.
His daughter in the show is on the Mount Rushmore of just like most wretched female characters in television cinema history. Like Sharon Stone from Casino, Penelope Cruz in Blow are on there. And then his daughter is just, but she's also kind of fun to look at. She's like that. I probably could have said what I thought about this like 6 years ago, but if I said it now, I'd probably lose my job. So I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, good, smart.
But she does a good job because you really hate her. They do a really good job of making you hate her, and then she has 2 moments in the first 2 seasons that make you kind of like either sympathize or start rooting for her. So it's really well done in terms of character development for her. But yeah, I'll probably finish it out. I'll finish it out because there's
buddy.
I've gone through everything else, and I try to get into Billions. But I thought the acting, I couldn't even get through the first episode. Like the guy that they have as the villain is just such a cheesy, like archetype of what you think a stockbroker is. It's just way too try hard. It was like cringeworthy, so I couldn't watch it.
That guy, and for some reason I can't think of his name right now. But did you ever see Band of Brothers?
You talking about Paul Giamatti?
No, the other guy, the stockbroker guy.
Oh no! I've never seen Band of Brothers. No.
He's one of the leads in Band of Brothers, and you need to watch. That's what you need to binge next, man. And I'm talking to everyone listening to this. Go watch Band of Brothers. It is awesome. It's like 8 episodes, I think. It's about the American invasion of World War II, Normandy, but then past Normandy, all the way up to I think the end of the war. It's really good. Spielberg and Tom Hanks were a part of it and did it. Go watch it. It's really good. It's got a ton of actors in it that you'll recognize.
Did he do a good job in that movie?
Yeah, no, he was great. He was in that, and he was also in Homeland, and I can't think of his name, which is really bothered me. Yeah, and he plays Americans, and he's not American. He's either Irish or Scottish or British.
It's like, what's that guy? Joel Edgerton? Is like Joel Edgerton coming here from Australia, taking all of our good American roles? Thanks, Joel.
Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you anymore.
All right, well, then we're done. That's our cue. That's the first time you heard Corey say that today, but he said it probably 6 other times. Hopefully I've cut it and edited it so it hasn't been as cumbersome as it was previously. We'll do another show. We'll do 2 shows this week. We'll probably get back to doing something live, maybe on Tuesday for your enjoyment on Wednesday, and then, per usual, Renegade Express on Friday. Hey, thanks so much for hanging in the pocket, everybody. That was a tough listen to the first 25 minutes. I apologize. We'll get better. He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.